All right, hello. Welcome back. Chase Thomas Podcast, taping this late on a Thursday evening. Cousin Logan's back. Super Bowl weekend coming up. LSAT for Logan. Busy weekend. Being studious and also having fun. You got the best of both worlds. Preparing for law school and also preparing for what should be a really fun Super Bowl matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. Logan, good evening, sir. How are you?
Doing good. Just excited for the Super Bowl weekend.
What's new with you in the last week? Give me something new that you've read, you've seen outside of the LSAT. What's new with Cousin Logan in Los Angeles, California right now?
Oh man, I've been here like all week just studying. I've left the house like only a couple times. I can't think of anything outside of my head that's new out here.
Does your cat does it pat biscuits? Have you ever heard of that? Patting biscuits?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Some people call it making muffins, which doesn't make any sense because muffins are a batter, not a dough. So I always call it making biscuits.
So they do it too. I learned what that was on Sunday. My wife and I she wanted to go to a cat cafe here in Knoxville. Never been to one. Yeah. And went to the cat cafe, and this black one came up next to me and was just pressing down on this pillow just over and over again. And I was like, what is happening? And they're like, he's making biscuits. And I was like, excuse me? What is making biscuits? And apparently it's therapeutic, whole thing.
Yeah,
so that's
they do
common.
it all the time. That's why the cat trees, they have like the twine on them so they can claw at them. And yeah, when they're showing you affection, they do it. My black cat especially does it. He's like really affectionate. But he hurts me because he's got razor sharp claws sometimes. I would trim them enough sometimes.
What are their names again?
Dundee. His name's after The Office, Dunder Mifflin, the Dundee Awards. Mm-hmm. So, and then Georgia. Named after the state we're from.
There you go, Dundee and Georgia. What about the dog situation at the house? You have another chocolate lab, right?
We have she's a mix. She's half chocolate lab, half border collie, but she looks completely like a lab. But she's so smart. Like she lets herself out to go to the bathroom, and she's ridiculously smart. And then we have a white dog. So that the lab border collie is Brandy, and then we have a Jindo. She's white and like she looks like a snow fox, and she's her name's Whiskey.
Yeah, she's still around. I know Whiskey. She was there when I was there in LA because she's getting up there, right? Like, how old is Whiskey?
I think she just turned 10.
Okay, yeah, Whiskey's a legend. I remember, but the last chocolate lab y'all had, super sweet, sweet.
Yeah,
that one was a nice one. Yeah. Well, Logan, it's Super Bowl Sunday, like we said, coming up here on Sunday evening. My first question to you: your favorite Super Bowl storyline heading into Sunday is what, Logan?
Definitely the Kelsey brothers playing. That's going to be really cool to see. Either way, if I'm correct, I don't think we've ever seen brothers go head-to-head in the Super Bowl. We've seen coaches as brothers do it, but I don't think players.
I don't think the Bennett's ever did, right? They never. Martellus and I think, actually Martellus and Michael, did they go at it with Eagles Patriots when he was a tight end and Michael was a defensive end?
That's something you'd have to tell me. I'm not sure.
Yeah, if it's anyone else that
I think I saw something somewhere where they said brothers had never gone head to head. But yeah, they should definitely let the Kelsey mom, Donna Kelsey, do the coin toss. That would be really, really cool. But yeah, I think it's really cool to see the brothers face off, and I'm curious who gets the first hug after that Super Bowl, the winner or the loser from the mom. And
it's good that they both play offense. That would be just so awkward if they were on opposite sides of the ball and they could actually go up at each other and that would just be.
I don't know if you've got Trayvon and Stephon playing against wait, not Trayvon.
No, you're right. Trayvon Diggs and
yeah, okay.
Stephon Diggs, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that was wrong. Anyway, if you have them going head to head in the Super Bowl, that'd be super cool to see. Like just watching them play in what was it, the flag football game in the Pro Bowl, where I think Stephon ended up throwing a pass on one of the plays and he got picked off by his brother and ran it back almost all the way. But the two brothers going head to head, that's really cool to me. Like,
That's interesting. Did you watch the Pro Bowl in full? Did you sit down and watch the whole thing?
No, definitely not. No, I watched some of the different skill events. I didn't even see the game at all. I didn't. Yeah, I haven't even seen highlights of the game. The Pro Bowl is just like it's just not football, It's like you can play basketball without going too hard and hurting yourself and still be entertaining, but football is like, oh, he wasn't even trying to tackle him. Like you got like Mac Jones out here running like 99-yard touchdowns because people don't want to tackle him. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's probably fun for the players, but for the fans, like I get why, I don't want to see anybody get hurt, and inevitably somebody's going to get hurt in the Pro Bowl if they go full contact. So I get why they do it. So I like to tune into like the skill challenges, the flag football, like the stuff where they're actually kind of trying. Like I don't really mind that they're not playing a serious game anymore. Like it's really cool to see like the long drive challenge and the dodgeball and everything.
I don't know. I think if you're not gonna do, it's just that's none of it's for me. I mean, we all remember the Sean Taylor just destroying that dude, the punter. Didn't he destroy a punter? Was it a punter or kicker on that play? Do you know what I'm talking about? Years and years ago.
Yeah. In the Pro Bowl.
I think it was a punter. It may have been a kicker. It was one of the two. It was on special teams and just got rocked.
It was like right at the sideline.
Yes. And he got rocked. And you were like, this is the Pro Bowl. And they got rocked. And I think that was when the Pro Bowl died. When it was like, okay, we can't do this anymore for an exhibition game. But I don't know. Like All-Star appearances, All-Star games are just not for me. Like I'm good. I'm okay with the voting and Pro Bowl voting and that sort of thing and that mattering.
Like All-Star games in general, like for all sports?
None of it interests me. Like I don't need to see it because the players don't care. Like it's not an event for me. I'm not an exhibition guy. It's really hard for me to sink my teeth into stuff like that. It's just not my jam. Like, but I do think it's important to vote, and it just helps when folks retire. You have some sort of award system set up where we can, make better arguments as to why this player was better than this player, this, that, and the other. So you need like just benchmarks and stuff. But in terms of the viewing product, I don't think you can fix the Pro Bowl. I don't think you can fix a lot of these All-Star games. Like what MLB tried to do, and then people rebelled against them. But I understood the logic of like, hey, whoever wins gets to host the play. Like they're the host in the World Series. They're the home team. Like whichever to the AL or the NL, if they win, then they host. But it's like that's ridiculous because that should not influence who is the home team in a 7-game series with the title on the line. That's crazy. You should just do best record. And they went back to that.
The MLB is doing that or did that?
They did that for a couple of years and did not go well. There was a lot of revolting. But it was trying to incentivize it.
Sense.
But it was trying to get guys to care in the game where it's like, oh, home field advantage is on the line for the World Series. We need to go harder. But it's like, that's also not what we should have the World Series be determined by. Is they got home field advantage because they won the All-Star game? What? That's silly. That's it's just a lot of it's out of their control.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I don't think that the All-Star games necessarily need fixing. Like a sport like baseball, I don't understand why you couldn't just go out there and try.
Yeah.
You're not really putting your body at risk. So, like, I don't know. Like, it used to be driven by pride, Back in the day, they used to have pride before, they had millions and millions of dollars each. They had a lot of pride in just winning. And now those players, like, that are making the All-Star teams, you're usually going to be your highest paid players, and you're not going to be able to incentivize them with money. Like, things like that you just can't fix. But, like, for football and basketball, like I don't necessarily think it needs fixing. I think it's more to honor the players that, played an exceptional season. And I think that we should be doing that every season and like, paying a respect to those guys for what they did.
Absolutely. Your favorite prop bet for Super Bowl Sunday is what? What do you have here that you're really locked
I like
in on?
this one. I like this one. Patrick Mahomes completes his first pass plus 200.
Huh.
I like that one.
Did you bet it?
No, I haven't yet, but
Okay.
I was going to lock it in.
Mm-hmm. That's your lock.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What was your rationale behind this? Why do you like a completion first?
Well, look at his completion percentage. The odds are he's going to complete the pass. And his first pass, your first pass isn't usually, a deep shot or like something crazy. This could be a screen. All I need him to do, this could be a shuffle pass. Like, all I need him to do is complete the ball an inch forward on his first pass, and I'll triple my money. I'll take,
true.
$100, turn that into $300.
That's not bad. That's a good one. Was there any other ones that stood out to you?
I didn't like all the other bets because when I was looking at them, like I always look at the bet before I look at the odds and think in my head who I would take. And if I ever see it's the opposite, I'll be like, all right, well, I like that bet. And but if I look at the odds first, I feel like it'll like be like, oh no, that makes sense. Like,
True.
yeah, I'll just listen to what other people are saying instead of taking like into account what I've seen on the field.
That's fair. It's funny, like when you were saying that, I'm like, I wonder what else, because it's amazing how far we've come with everything you can get. Like, I know I saw people were doing a deep dive into male country singers, how long they've done the national anthem, because you can bet on whether or not the anthem goes longer than 2 minutes. And for whatever reason, the men typically go under the 2 minutes for the national anthem, the male country singers. And it's like, we can bet on literally anything. They're just narrowing it down of like, what are the odds that this guy is going to get it done in 2 minutes or less?
Well,
and
you heard about the...
Well, no, I was
Sorry,
just going to
keep
say, like,
going.
I can only imagine. All these folks sitting around their couch and their wife's like, why are you sweating watching the national anthem? Why are you tapping your foot? And what is this stopwatch you've got going over here? And he's like, no, it's nothing, sweetie. It's nothing. And he's just put like $1,000 on this just incredibly arbitrary, silly thing. Like, that's where we're at.
So I've heard you can do the Gatorade.
Yes,
And you can
the
also
color.
bet on people streaking.
Oh,
You didn't hear about it? I think it was last Super Bowl. You didn't hear about it?
uh-uh.
So I think it was a YouTuber. I think it might have been Vitali or someone. But they went and they bet like, I think it was like $60,000 or some, like a lot of money on that somebody would streak. They went to the game and they did it.
Wait, the people who bet the money bet on it and then struck?
Went to the game and streaked so they would win their bet.
That feels illegal. Does it count if you're the one streaking?
I'd have to look up the story because I don't know if he got away with it, but it's just a hilarious concept.
I just pay someone to be like, I'll split some of this with you when we win. That's what I would do. If you were gonna do something like
That might have been what they did because I talked to somebody about this recently, and I think that's might have been what they said is they had somebody else place the bet for them and they did it. Which
that
I
makes
don't
more
think
sense
anything-
to me.
Yeah.
Man, I still wouldn't do it. I don't actually know. Do we know what happens like with Braves games and everything else I've seen over the years that when folks do streak or run onto the field? I wonder, do they get time? I never see the follow-up story of like, what is the
No,
actual
dude, you don't
sentence
get
for it?
time.
You get
No,
nothing. What is it?
Well, there's no sentence. You're not going to go to like prison's already.
You're not doing
overcrowded
30
as
days
it
in
is.
jail though? You're not doing 30 days in county?
You're going to spend the time in jail. So say it's on a
You're the lawyer here. You need to explain this.
say
to me,
it's on
Logan.
like a Saturday or something, or it's Friday night. Say it's Friday night. It's like maybe 8 or 9 o'clock or something. And you streak. They're gonna take you over to the jail. You're gonna sit there until Monday when you can see a judge, most likely. But I'm also not sure because like it's completely different in different states, and I feel like they might just let you go. Like it seems like a long time to hold somebody, but still, like that's what I've heard. If you get in like a fight on Friday night, and then you'll be in jail till Sunday or Monday morning, so you'll miss the whole weekend. And so they always say like, when I was working for some lawyers, they were like, yeah, never do that like around Christmas because then you'll spend Christmas in a jail cell. But
Or just don't do it on Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
Wait till Sunday.
They most likely receive some community service or have to pay a fine or something. They're not going to go to jail. Like, imagine like sitting in a cell. It's like, what are you in for? And it's like, I streaked at what is it, SunTrust Park? Yeah.
Yeah. Truist Park, sir.
Truist. Oh, it's Truist. Sorry.
It used to be SunTrust. That 1 year was SunTrust.
Yeah, I went there the first season. Yeah, sorry, Truist.
Put some respect on the bank. One it was. The big bank in Cobb County.
Were you there during the what was it? No, it's the CS. Yeah, the NLCS, not the DS. The NLCS when we won the World Series.
No, I was in Knoxville here.
I was there.
I know you were there. I remember the pictures.
Game 2.
Yeah. I thought you were at the World Series. Did you not go?
No, I didn't go to the World Series. I wish.
Did Kyle go?
I don't think so. He might have. I wasn't in Atlanta by that time. He could have.
Okay. There you go. Yeah, I remember you because it was you, Dylan, your mom, Kyle, Bailey. You had the whole gang there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we were all in Atlanta.
Did someone streak at that game or no?
Oh, crap. I want to say someone did, but I'm not sure. I can't remember.
I remember it was cold. Wasn't it cold as hell?
No.
It wasn't that bad?
It wasn't that bad. I don't remember it being like exceptionally cold.
I know one of the home games.
It being lit.
Yeah. No, that was, I did not go, but there hopefully will be other opportunities to come back during that time. I'm telling you too, like it gets so complicated, like with me being here in Knoxville and like Tennessee games and being at those on Saturdays, and football season takes a lot out of me. And when the Braves are in a deep playoff run, you're like, I got football to watch. Basketball starts in late October. It's just a lot on my plate to watch. And
I just got super lucky. Like we were there for Kyle's engagement shower, and my mom was like, "You want to go see a Braves game?" And I was like, "I've never seen a playoff game in any sport." Yeah, let's go.
There you go. Who is the most to gain on Sunday? It could be a coach, player, GM. Who do you think has the most to gain out of a victory on Sunday in the Super Bowl, Logan?
I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes because, this is going to set him on track to be like a quarterback that's elite. Like 2 Super Bowls is, 1 Super Bowl, you like some people, they can call that a fluke or like you had one good season. It's like, this kind of puts him in another tier of quarterback, somebody who's gone there and done it more than once, And if you get to the Super Bowl 4 times or 5 times after you won your first Super Bowl and you lose all of them, people are just going to remember you as the guy who lost Super Bowls. They're not going to remember that you got to the Super Bowl a bunch of times and how great you are. And like, this is one of the reasons I think that LeBron, the LeBron Jordan argument with when people argue, the rings, I'm like, well, if you think about it, LeBron went 9 out of 10 finals. And people like my dad or our uncles will say, yeah, but he lost those. And Michael Jordan never lost one. Well, I'm like, well, so you're saying it's less impressive to, go to the finals and lose than it is just to lose at all. So I think winning here for him is very important to cement his place as, one of the greats in history.
Yeah, and I wonder too with Mahomes, where it just feels like we're like this kind of leads into another question I had of like whether or not we're already in a Chiefs dynasty, because people are like he has to win to like start the dynasty, and I'm like, I think you make the case we're already in it. Like he's already won one, he was in another and lost. This will be Super Bowl number 3 for him in a very short amount of time. He has made the AFC Conference Championship game every single year as a starter at the bare minimum. So last year he misses by losing at home to Cincinnati in the AFC title game. But like, I think we're already in a dynasty. I think people just assume, like they equate dynasties to titles, and I don't think that's necessarily true. I think the dynasty is that like the AFC is going to run through Patrick Mahomes for the next decade, and if he makes the AFC Conference Championship game for a decade straight, and that probably entails 4 or 5 Super Bowl appearances minimum, like he's going to win a couple, like you said. And he's not going to be perfect. He already isn't. He's 1-1. But like Mahomes is so good already that I just don't see a scenario where like Andy Reid's in place, this staff's in place, Brett Veach is in place, that they fall off anytime soon. Like this is just going to be year in, year out of just like, hey, you have to beat Kansas City and really put on your A game to survive Patrick Mahomes and get through the Kansas City Chiefs, because I think we're already in a dynasty. And I think a win, it also we take it for granted, right? Like, no quarterback who's ever lost in the Super Bowl his first time has ever gotten back. So Joe Burrow is fighting that right now after losing his first one last year to the Rams. But like, Stafford got his one. I don't know. He may never get back. No NFL head coach has ever been to the Super Bowl with two different franchises. Sean Payton is now the Denver Broncos coach. He's going to try and break that trend. Bill Parcells never did it. You go up and down the list, they've only gone with one. Like, it's never happened where with one coach going to it, taking two different teams to a Super Bowl. So we just think that these guys are just going to make it back and they're going to be there forever. And it's like, the fact that he's already in 3 in this amount of time is pretty remarkable. Aaron Rodgers got 1. The Packers, over a 25-year span, 30-year span, got 2 Super Bowls total for Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Like, it's just, we take it for granted. And I mean, you think it's sustainable, you think it's a long term, but I'm like, we have to be more open to what the word dynasty means in sports, because I think it's just so rare for guys to just control a conference the way that Mahomes controls the AFC right now, and to already be in 3 Super Bowls in this amount of time and literally never not get at least to the AFC title game as a starter to this point, when he's already gotten paid now too and everything else. It's just kind of wild. He lost Tyreek Hill and he hasn't missed a beat. Like, you can make a case they're better this year than they were last year. Like, I don't know. I don't know what else Patrick Mahomes can do, or the Chiefs can do at this point, to make you think that they're already in a dynasty, win or lose. Because I think that they're the favorites next year. Guess what? To be back here again. Like, I think that's where we're at.
Yeah, but if you kind of look at the definition of a dynasty, it kind of implies more than one. And if you go back in NFL history, like you mentioned, I was going to bring that up, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, I wouldn't have said that either of them had a dynasty.
No.
And they had 1 Super Bowl, and they were contenders year in, year out, and they made other. Aaron Rodgers? Did he only play in 1? Did he?
He's
2?
only played in 1.
He's only played in 1, but yeah, everyone considers Aaron Rodgers one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But that doesn't mean his franchise was turned into a dynasty. I think in order to do that, like you said, what more Patrick can do to win or to cement the Chiefs as a dynasty is win another Super Bowl. That's all. That's what he has to do, and that's why I'm saying he has the most to gain, because he can cement his franchise as a dynasty right now, and he can also, cement himself as a legend in the NFL, essentially.
So dynasty, you're studying for the LSAT. This works. Dynastia is where it comes from, the Greek word, dynastia. All that means is lordship or power.
Right, no, but I'm saying the definition, like, go look up Webster, Merriam.
Yeah.
It's like several generations, or
yeah,
it's got like,
a line of hereditary rulers of a country.
And then look at the
succession of people from the same family who play a prominent role in that. But I think in terms of this, like, I just think of the power or the lordship. The lordship's probably the most accurate to me, where it's like Patrick Mahomes is the lord of the AFC, and Brady was the lord of the AFC for many years before him. And I think he had to, and obviously we have Peyton behind us, and he tried to fight that, and they went back and forth with their lordship battle over the AFC. I mean, there was a time when it was only Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady who only appeared in the Super Bowl. There was like a decade stretch where it was only those 3 who appeared in the AFC. I forgot how many years in a row every Super Bowl only had one of those 3 quarterbacks in it. It's a crazy run with those 3. It was Ben, Peyton, and Brady, but like I think it was a decade plus streak where it was only those 3 coming out of the AFC over and over again. I think Mahomes already is the lordship, like everyone around, like who runs the AFC and who's run the AFC for the last half decade.
What is it? That's so funny. On one of my reading comprehension practice tests I was taking today, they were talking about grammarians, I guess, and how they're, I think it's directivists or something, or derivatives. I can't remember what it was, but still, they were talking about how, like, one of them, like observes how words are used in the modern world, and the other is like preservists. Jeez, I can't speak right now, but anyway, those people like try to preserve the language that we already have and try to keep people, and like they're the kind of people that like correct you, like for example, the word data. Like when people are talking about like multiple data, the word should be datum technically. And so like somebody would argue that, and like it got me thinking about that, how. But yeah, I just think if you look at like our modern dictionary's definition of it, it implies that like there's more than one person. It does, like it also implies some sort of lineage, but like people, like if you look at some of the examples they use for the word, they like use like a baseball dynasty. But I think to be a dynasty, you have to do it more than once. You know, if you go look, like the Buffalo Bills, what they lost three straight Super Bowls back in the day. That wasn't a dynasty just because they went to the Super Bowl every year for 3 years and were contenders. Like just doesn't equate to a dynasty. Nobody's gonna remember you if you lose the Super Bowl. Nobody remembers the loser of the Super Bowl. Like, you know, when we talk about stats, we talk about how many Super Bowls a franchise has won, not how many Super Bowls a franchise has lost. You know, unless we're getting really specific.
Yeah. Who do you think has the most to lose on Sunday? Player, coach, team.
Ooh.
Who do you think has the
Andy
most to lose?
Reid for sure, going up against his former squad. Yeah, that's just a game you really want to win. You just want to say, hey, you guys didn't believe in me, and now I'm going to rob you of one of your Super Bowls. This is a big opportunity for him, and if he loses, then they're like, good thing we got rid of that guy, because we probably would have lost this Super Bowl and not won our last one.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's, I mean, because he obviously went and never won. He went with McNabb and Terrell Owens, and Terrell Owens had those screws in his ankle and still balled out in the Super Bowl against the Pats, and they came up short. But, like, stable, great for many years, just never broke through. He also never had a quarterback as talented as Patrick Mahomes during any of those years. McNabb is good, but never Terrell Owens, or never Patrick Mahomes good. But it's also, there's another wrinkle. I was reading Peter King's column, Football Morning in America on NBC Sports the other day, and he does these car rides before the Super Bowl with a different coach each year. So he's done with Todd Bowles, he's done it with just Sean McVay, he's done it with different guys over the years. And this year he did it with Nick Sirianni. And Nick Sirianni was not retained when Andy Reid got the Kansas City job. He was the wide receivers coach in Kansas City before Andy Reid took over for the coach who was fired before Andy Reid came in. And Andy Reid had the opportunity to keep Nick Sirianni on staff, his first staff with KC, and elected not to. And he talked about that. So there's another level to this where it's like he could have, like, Sirianni could have been a protege, one of the Matt Nagy's, Eric Bieniemy's of the world, with Reid and the staff, and he was not retained. So there's another element to that. It seems like he's cool about it now, but that's definitely going to be in the back of Nick Sirianni's mind that he was not retained. So it's just a little bit more fuel to the fire of like wanting to prove the doubters wrong. It's just guys are looking for any kind of rat poison, right? And this is that kind of rat poison to get motivated of like, I really want to beat this guy because he could have kept me on his inaugural chief staff and he chose not to.
yeah, definitely. And then, yeah, you got brothers playing, which is another huge aspect. There's just a lot of people that want to win really bad for a lot of reasons, a lot of good reasons.
I think Jalen Hurts has stuff to lose if he looks bad, they're behind, and the game implodes. Like, I think that is something where we haven't, because he was not good in the Niners NFC Championship game. He really struggled, and the Niners have talked a lot this week during Super Bowl Media Week about how they thought the game would have gone if Brock Purdy did not blow out his arm in a freak injury, where it's like, you look at the defense, like it was three and out. Like, Philly wasn't able to do much, and that Devontae Smith non-catch, after review, they got away with it, ended up scoring right after. But like, Jalen Hurts really, really struggled, and the Niners put him in a blender for most of that game. They just literally couldn't throw a forward pass, and were playing with a quarterback who could not throw a pass 5 to 10 yards down the field. And I'm curious, because I think the best case scenario is like Hurts needs to play from behind and do really well. That's something I'm looking for because he is not. It's not a fault of Jalen Hurts. I'm a big Jalen Hurts guy, but like he has not had to play from behind. He's not had to have this kind of situation where like Chris Jones is on his back and Jalen Hurts is having to do a lot more, and they're like down 14-0 in the first quarter because things went awry and they're off script and they're not able to dictate how the game is played. We haven't seen them because they've been so good and they're so well built that they've just been a machine all season long. But I would like to see what happens if they get hit in the mouth and they play from behind, because I know if the Chiefs play from behind, they'll catch up. Like Patrick Mahomes is never out of a football game. I don't know what the Eagles are like if they're down 14-0 early. So I think that will be interesting if they implode from behind and the game gets out of hand early. I wonder what that would mean about how folks see this Eagles team and whether or not they were kind of a facade because they were never actually hit in the mouth at all. They were really challenged.
Yeah, I think that'll be something interesting to be looked at. Like, just the playoffs are so different. The Super Bowl almost every year almost seems to, in the last few years, besides the last one, the Rams, I think that was a really close, great matchup, came down to the wire. But the Super Bowl's like, just hasn't been that close recently. It just feels like you're seeing a lot of people getting exposed in the Super Bowl. I'm trying to think back. Yeah, it's a hard place. Like you see it happen all the time. Somebody comes into their first Super Bowl and they just crap the bed. But he could have himself like a Nick Foles moment, or not as being like a backup, but as being people doubting him, questioning him, and then coming out and winning the Super Bowl against the best team in the league, and arguably, talking about how good Mahomes is. It's like when they had to come with a backup quarterback playing Brady. Not exactly. Jalen Hurts, I believe, is much better than Nick Foles, but yeah, I think that he could definitely make a name for himself here, but it's a lot to put on somebody's shoulders, especially when you think about how young that man is. That guy's younger than me, which is crazy. I just can't believe that. He's so young, but very talented. I want to see him succeed, and I hope that he does play well, and I hope we have a high-scoring game. I just want to see a good, close Super Bowl, good matchup.
Yeah, I hope so too. Last thing, before we get in our predictions or official predictions that you have to lock in here, Logan. Quarterback on the move you're most interested in seeing on another team next year is who?
Probably Derek Carr, because he has good stats and puts up good numbers and has his clutch moments, but I personally have never seen him as being like a franchise guy for like, if I had a franchise, I just wouldn't see him being my franchise guy. And I have a good friend that's a Raiders fan. I talk to him about that all the time. And, the beginning of the season, he's screaming at me. I don't know what he's talking about, or I don't know what I'm talking about, Derek Carr. And like now it's like, yeah, forget that guy. And I want to see what it's like when he gets a solid franchise, a solid team around him where his defense isn't allowing too many points and he's not put in these situations as much. I want to see if he's actually as good, because, lots of people do talk crap about him because his team never won all playoff games. Team doesn't usually perform well. But I want to see what he does with another franchise that actually puts the team around him and knows what they're doing, because I think it's 20 years the Raiders haven't won a playoff game. So that started long before he got there. And so I want to give him a fair shot. And I don't want to count him out too early, but
where do you want him to go? Because he's meeting with the Saints, and I don't think that's a good fit at all. I think the Saints, that's a losing situation. I don't like him in New Orleans.
I don't think that's not the chance I want to give him. I want to give him but I can't think of options right now of where he would go.
The Jets are definitely an option. If they don't go in the Rodgers direction, or Rodgers decides to come back to Green Bay, I think he is probably the fallback option for the Jets. My guess. A sneaky interesting one, I guess, is Arizona, because I think Kyler is going to be out for most of next year. And if they're trying to win football games, I don't think they can go with Colt McCoy for a full year, but then that would cause some sort of
I doubt Derek Carr is going to take that kind of role.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you're going to be here until we get Kyler, and then you got to go do something else or sit in the
Houston
bench.
makes sense. Like they're rebuilding, but like
all these franchises you're naming have been terrible, so bad for years. And I'm trying to think, like,
well, who
about
are
a
you putting them
team.
on? The Ravens if they let Lamar
I know.
walk?
Well, I don't know. That'd be kind of cool.
Panthers
That'd
would
be
be
kinda
good
cool.
for him. Frank Reich. I think the NFC South is winnable. I'm more optimistic about the Panthers direction.
I
than
think
the
if he goes
Saints.
to any of those situations you named, he would absolutely fail because
Hmm.
he's not a guy that he's a
Colts
good quarter. He's not a good quarter. He's not a the heck. My light just went.
live on the podcast, the light went out.
I have no idea why.
I need the music. Do 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 do, because we're live and we're still going. And Logan's fixing the light as we wrap up here on
it burned
this
out
portion of the podcast.
What the hell? Okay. All right, I'm gonna give up on that.
He's giving up. This is incredible.
I think it got too hot. I don't know. I'm gonna sit in a little bit of darkness for the rest.
Well, we're almost done. You're all right.
All right.
We'll see. I like Derek Carr though. That should be interesting. I'm very curious to see where he ends up, but I think he probably waits on Rodgers, right? Like I think teams are going to wait to see what Aaron Rodgers does, and maybe some of the other big names, the dominoes, to fall before they move on Derek Carr as kind of like the fallback option for a lot of folks. But he's solid. Derek Carr's solid. We'll end on this. Logan, your official Super Bowl prediction is what?
These have been so hard the last few weeks. I want the Eagles, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
What's the score?
Ooh. Chiefs 24. Eagles 17.
Okay. I have 37-20 Chiefs. I think Chris Jones has a big day. I think Chris Jones breaks through and gives the...
I didn't want to guess too high on the score because I feel like Super Bowls have just been so low scoring recently.
What was it last year? 2017 or something?
Yeah, it was like something like that. It was very close.
The Chiefs have not... Let's see what they're... Because I was going to go through. They had 23 2 weeks ago, 27 the week prior, 31, 27, 24, 30, 34, 24. I mean... If they win, usually it's in the 27 and up range, but
Well, I heard you say 24 one of those times, so that's what we're going for.
there you go. I like it. We'll end here, Logan. Your spread. What's Aunt Robin, Uncle Stan? What's the Super Bowl spread like this year? What is your ideal Super Bowl like menu items? What do you have to have? What should everyone in America have for their Super Bowl spread?
Like food?
Yeah, food spread.
Okay, yeah, definitely like buffalo wings for sure. You gotta
What
have
flavor?
buffalo wings. Buffalo, they're like medium or hot.
Hot,
is
okay.
preferably. Yeah,
Okay.
and then just the basic stuff: pizza, nachos.
Okay.
Just all that basic stuff. I might make a sushi bake,
What is that?
which is gonna. It's like you take rice and like seaweed, kind of like sushi, and you flatten it out, and then it's like a baked roll. So you add already like cooked salmon, and then you put like cream cheese and spicy mayo, eel sauce, and then you bake it in the oven, and it comes out. It's all creamy and yeah, it's like baked sushi, but like a tray's worth.
My wife would love that. That is absolutely
it's so good.
She's a sushi person. She always, I'm just not. I can't do the cold fish. I'm not a. I
No.
can't do
This is baked. So like the salmon is completely. It's even cooked before it goes in the oven. It's like seared and everything, and then it goes in the oven where it finishes off cooking with the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
And so like, have you ever had a baked sushi roll? Dude, I bet you'd love them. Like it's cooked sushi, completely cooked. Like there's no raw fish, and then
Okay.
yeah, they add like the cream cheese and the spicy mayo. It makes it all creamy. So like, yeah, definitely you should try if you ever get a chance. Like I don't think they have much sushi out where you're at, but
They have got some good shots
baked
fired.
sushi. I mean
Yeah.
baked sushi. Like yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
yeah.
I'll look into it. Baked sushi. I'll ask my wife tomorrow about it if she's ever had it. Cousin Logan, great as always, sir. Thank you for making the time. Enjoy the weekend. Good luck on the LSAT this weekend. Everyone wish Logan a good job here on Saturday afternoon, and then enjoy the Super Bowl Sunday. Say hi to the fam, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks for having me.